Hey guys, hopefully you're having a good day so far. Thank you for tuning into my podcast, Deaf and Hearing Loss Advocacy and Empowerment for Teachers. Have you ever felt discouraged or want to better support your student in getting the services they need to be successful? Sometimes advocating for your students can be a lot of hard work, but know that in the future your students will thank you tremendously for helping them out. Just keep an eye out for someone who's struggling and find ways to support them, and as they can become your best friend. So, let's dive into this episode. Welcome back to Deaf and Hearing Loss. Today, we're here with the lovely Alexis Holman, who is majoring in elementary education. Today, we're going to talk about the different kind of things in the school system. So, what have you found in the schools?
I've worked with a lot of students one-on-one and in group settings, and I've just noticed that there's just a lot of differences with each student, and so to make each group work or each one-on-one situation work, you kind of have to get to know the students you're working with to be able to meet each of their individual needs.
So grow a connection with your students?
Yeah, definitely. Connections, I feel drive a lot of teachers, because if you don't know who you're talking to, how are you going to make your lessons important to them,
I also feel it's important to have relatability of content in the classroom. So if you don't build a connection with your students, it's hard for your students to be able to connect or relate to them on a personal level.
I definitely agree, yeah. And I think a lot of students also need that connection and relatability to see the value in what they're learning. So
I mean, did you take literature ed with Meacham last?
I did, yes.
Yes, yeah. I took that too.
Yes.
And so I've learned a lot in that class. And I'm also a transfer student from Cornell, so I kind of understand some the different aspects of that. And so a lot of when he said it's important to establish a connection with the students first. So the first 2 or 3 weeks of school, where teachers would normally delve right into academics, he suggests that basically all of us actually try to build a connection with our students first.
Yeah, I remember him talking about that a lot, and also thinking about all these kids are coming from completely different backgrounds and experiences, so you really have no idea what they could be going through in their outside life, outside of school. And so school might be one of the only supports for some students.
I mean, school could definitely be one of those safety areas that they can go to, because some students come from backgrounds where they don't feel safe at all at home. And so, going to school, that's probably, it's one of those, stability moments in their life that they can, look forward to. Because, some students, have, ACES, and ACES is Adverse Childhood Experiences or something.
Yeah. Right.
Yes. And so, just being able to, help support them and, let them know that you're there for them, and, you're not gonna, abandon or reject them regardless. Because, they probably have a lot of people that have, abandoned them at a very young age. And so, trying to, build a relationship with your students is just incredibly important.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. And bringing up, ACE factors, learning about that more, because that was something new that I learned in Meacham's class, and how students with 4 or more ACE factors out of 10 are at a way higher risk for health issues and mental health issues and substance abuse. And so paying attention to those kids and giving them care and not seeing their negative behaviors as a part of them, but maybe rather as a reaction towards what they've experienced, instead of just having a negative stigma against students, I think is really important too.
It's really important to taking all the factors they've been through and try to help help support them in whatever you can do. So, like, whether or not that's, like, just being there for them, like, as a friend, that's, like, one of those, like, morning messages. Like, if you, like, try to, like, communicate with, like, everyone in your class, like, the students in your class, so, like, just building, like, a community so where everyone feels involved and doesn't feel left out. Because, like, with ACES factors, like, those become much more, like, prevalent today. And, like, I think there was some sort of study, I don't remember, but, like, children with ACE factors are more likely to drop out than those that don't have as much ACE factors.
Yeah, I've seen that too, and I think it puts a lot of perspective in people who have not had those experiences themselves, or maybe are lower in their own ACE factors, on how the experiences that we have really affect us every single day. And like, kids are allowed to be affected too by what they go through.
I mean, we're all human, so it's important to, like, understand that, like, hey, like, if we, like, mess up, like, once, like, it's not a big deal. Like, we can try to, like, we can see it as part of a lesson to learn from.
Right, yeah, I totally agree with that. And kind of continuing with that, like, I think when I was in elementary school and, like, just school in general, I was just so focused on being right all the time, and, like, and to me that was, now looking back at it, that was not the best for me, because we need to learn from our mistakes, and, like, mistakes don't need to be seen as something negative. They need to be seen as like room to grow. Like, where can we grow from this? How can we change from this? And so my perspective on that has changed a lot, because I don't want my students to be scared of, like, making mistakes, you know?
I mean, like, I was the same way. So for me, I grew up with a hearing loss. And so, like, I had, like, associates, like, 24/7, like, trying to help me out. Unfortunately, like, I don't think I really understood much at the time. But as I've gotten older, like, I have seen, like, how much of, like, the people that have helped me out along the way have helped me to try to be more, like, try to be, like, an advocate.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, you might, like, notice me, like, passing around the microphone, like, that was something that I was always very, like, nervous to do when I was younger. And I didn't have that, like, perspective of, like, you have to, like, stand up for yourself, because not everyone is going to know about it unless you speak up for yourself.
Right, yeah. That's so cool. And that's something I've also been more aware of, like, here at college, because where I grew up, I lived in the same place my whole entire life. And so I knew all the same people, it felt like, and I don't know, it's just interesting. It's made me more aware of how people with disabilities, or just other things going on with their life, how accommodations are so important, and, like, it also is helping me as a teacher, because it's making me aware of how I can use those accommodations for students who may need it, or how I can support them into being in a place like what you said, like how you kind of shifted from feeling nervous towards, like, standing up for yourself and, like, fighting for your accommodations. It kind of makes me think, like, how can I support students to feel comfortable with their accommodations, you know?
I mean, just, like, I was not really, like, that comfortable talking about my accommodations in the first place. But, like, I know in the past, like, I've had, like, a few teachers, like, say, like, hey, you need to stand up for yourself. Like, if you don't feel comfortable about something, like, my school district, I went to Charlesburg, and they had something called, like, if you see something, or if you see something that's wrong, say something.
Yeah, I've heard that from other school districts too and stuff.
So yeah, like, I feel like that's important too for, like, I think it's important for everybody. Like, even, like, if they're on, like, the ACE, on, like, the ACES, spectrum, or if they're just, like, on, like, the disability, like, everybody should, like, stand up for each other and, like, to help support each other.
I definitely agree, yeah.
I mean, like, and then with our professor, Amy Sanford, with the IEPs, like, if you don't follow those IEPs, you can actually, like, get fired.
Yeah, that was, when she was talking about that one teacher who didn't have, like, the data, it made me realize how important that was and how, like, that data goes somewhere. Like, it's to help, and so it's important to, I don't know, pay attention to students and work with them to get data to show people how they're doing.
I mean, like, I feel like it's important for IEPs to be, like, involved in a class because, like, number one, it can help not only the student but, like, other people in the classroom to be, like, more involved. Like you said, like, becoming much more aware of, like, what's going on, like, is there, like, different students with disabilities here on campus, like, some have, like, wheelchairs, some have, I can't remember.
One of my friends, sometimes she uses a wheelchair and sometimes she uses, like, walking canes.
Yes.
She has, like, two. I know some other people have, like, walkers, too, that I've seen.
So, yes, like, I feel like it's definitely important to remember to try to incorporate those and try to be, like, inclusive of everyone.
Yeah, definitely. I think, especially when I was younger, there was just a lot of separation of, like, special ed versus, like, the classroom. And I know they're trying to get kids in the classroom more. So by having those accommodations, it's helping them to be able to be in the classroom more.
I mean, I remember for me, I was kind of like a half-half kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I was in a classroom, like, most of the time with, like, my regular peers. But then, like, some other times, I wouldn't be in a classroom with my other peers. So, for instance, like, I was, like, on a reading IEP plan. Because, like, I couldn't, like, comprehend as well as some of the other students were able to. So I was often, like, pulled out for, like, reading goals and trying to, like, my reading comprehension ability. I also, like, struggle a lot with math, too, and so sometimes I had to be pulled out of math. Like, I remember I, like, struggled with math, like, starting, like, 5th grade.
And when you had, like, those situations, how did it make you feel, I guess? Because, like, I'm trying to think of, like, different perspectives because, like, I know there are a lot of students I'm working with where I have to sometimes take them out for, like, individual work. And I don't know, did you feel like you were, like, missing out or did you feel like it was beneficial to you?
That's where I'm, like, very torn because, like, at the same time, I feel like it was beneficial, but at the same time, I didn't quite exactly, like, receive, like, the amount of, like, instructional support I could receive from my teachers. Mm-hmm. And, like, I also feel like I don't want to, like, don't take this as a negative way, but, like, sometimes I felt, like, a little bit retarded.
Oh, just, like, feeling different.
Yes,
can be
feeling different.
difficult. Yeah, feeling, like, singled out. And so that's kind of what I wanted to, like, be careful about. Like, I don't want students to think that having extra support from a teacher has anything to do with, like, I don't want to ruin, like, self-esteem or, like, their motivation. Like, it's just extra support kind of things, you know?
And what kind of, like, things do you think that you might, like, put into place to help with those, like, self-esteem, like, those, like, self-support goals?
Yeah. It's tricky because, like, I don't know. And then comments from other students can sometimes be mean and it's hard.
Yes, I definitely agree. I mean, like, I was, like, bullied throughout, like, school, so, like, I kind of, like, understand, like, the stigma surrounding.
And that's something that I really want to avoid. I don't want students to feel like they're, just because they need extra support, I don't want them to take that as something on them because it's not. It's just, you need a different way to learn, and that's okay.
So, like, I think, like, going back on, like, the instructional support, like, kind of, like, made you want to, like, become a teacher, in a way.
I have wanted to be a teacher for so long. I love working with kids. I love all different age groups, and I'm really interested in child development and, like, psychology and how our experiences impact our brains and our feelings and our emotions, our actions. And I really like seeing kids grow, and if they're struggling with something and then finding ways to explain it in a way that they can understand it and then take that knowledge it's so cool to see kids like thinking and working, and when they finally understand something and get like excited.
Like a little like light bulb moment
Yes,
goes up in their head.
the light bulb moments, I love them, and it makes me so happy, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something that's important too.
I mean, like, you're also kind of like helping them with like their self-esteem. So like just like helping them to make them feel like they're important and then that they're valued in life. Because like some students may not have that kind of support that they need. And so like we as teachers, we can provide that kind of self-esteem and support for them and let them know that like, hey, it's okay, like we're always gonna support you, like we see you, and we want to help you out.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for me, school was super important because I didn't have the best like at-home life, and so it was kind of an escape from everything else. And so I had a lot of respect and admiration towards my teachers who showed that they cared and paid attention and were more than just teaching content. They were human beings, like a trusted adult that I feel like I could be around. And so I want to be somebody who can provide that for other kids.
I mean, for me, so teaching wasn't necessarily on my mind in the very beginning because I wanted to be an audiologist. Because I often went to a lot of audiology offices when I was younger. So I thought, oh hey, I'd be good being an audiologist. And then I took like a little like job shadow like in 10th grade. And in that time period, I was taking anatomy physiology because I thought I wanted to become an audiologist. But I was also taking an ASL class through ISD. And so after going through the job shadow and like meeting like the various kind of people that would work in the audiology department, they were like, oh yeah, you have to go to school for like another 10 more years after you graduate.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I don't really want to do that 100%. But like, just the thought like, oh, I could be like a doctor and stuff. I'm like, I really don't know how well I would do. And like, I just kind of like switched gears like in that night because like I'm very passionate about ASL and teaching ASL to other students with disabilities because it can help people like in every stage of life. And so for me, just like, if you're like truly passionate about it, like you're gonna do great in that. Like if you're truly passionate about teaching, like I am somewhat truly passionate about teaching because like I want to help advocate for my students with disabilities and help them succeed because that's what a lot of my teachers and my associates helped me in the past do. So I kind of like want to give back to them what they gave to me.
I love that. That makes me so happy. But I don't know, I feel like we just both had some pretty impactful teachers, and you know, it makes me excited to be able to like have that positive impact on other people.
I mean, I remember last year I did like a field experience for Cornell College, and I went to North Tama, and I was like working with like this group of like students. The kindergartners are so amazing. Like they're so adorable.
Oh,
so I find it amusing that like we're also working with kindergartners for our class, and so I'm just like, wow, this is gonna be so much fun because like kindergartners are really like interested in what you want to like learn and so forth. And one of the kids was like, hey, check me out, like check what I'm doing and so forth. I'm like, that is so awesome.
Yeah.
And like just like starting out like the syllables and helping them to like write was also like just very fascinating. Then now as I'm like learning like remembering from my past, I'm like, oh, that's kind of what that's what we're gonna be doing. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that I should have done something like that when I was with the students.
Yeah, it's cool because I feel like, I don't know, every class and every experience we have, because I've had moments like that too where I'm like, oh, that probably would have been a better thing I could have done with this student. But, you know, we're learning and growing with our students too.
I mean, how do you feel about like this like a coming like field experience on Monday?
I'm excited. I'm also a little nervous just because I've never done anything with like literacy or like phonics. And it's something like phonics I did not know anything about really. I don't remember really learning about it. And so I feel like it's kind of fresh on my brain too. So I don't know. I think it'll be fun though. I'm nervous about having a student who isn't as thrilled as I am, you know?
Yes, I mean, like, I'm, like, a little bit, like, nervous, too, but, like, excited at the same time, because, like, the phonics part, like, I actually saw a lot of that last year, where they were, like, trying to, like, spell it, like, sound out, like, the letters and, like, the words, and being able to, like, figure out, like, comprehend what, like, it's saying. So, like, for me, like, I don't think I was really introduced much to it when I was younger because I didn't have any hearing at the time. And so, like, I went through, like, 10 years of speech therapy, so, like, I was, like, a late bloomer because, like, I didn't learn to speak until I was about, like, 3.5 years old. And so, like, I just kind of, like, quickly, like, caught on with the rest of my peers, but, like, it took a little bit more time for me to, like, gradually, like, catch up.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, like, just kind of, like, thinking from my past, like, how can I help, like, my student, like, if they're, like, struggling with something, like, how can I help them to succeed and, like, help them to thrive in the education?
Yeah, it's so different based on, like, different student needs, and it can't be, like, a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. I don't know, and I think success also looks different to a lot of students, too. Especially students with, like, IEPs or, like, certain specific goals that they're trying to meet. Like, I'm thinking of students who may have, like, behavior goals as well. And so maybe their main goal is just sitting through a class and, like, being able to stay there the whole time and not have, like, a situation where they feel like they need to exit the classroom or, like, have a
little, like,
meltdown, tantrum, something. So I don't know. I think having students have goals that they're working towards and that they're able to, like, pick and make the goals for themselves, and maybe the wording of it can help them be successful, because once they achieve that goal, then it's like, wow, I put my mind to it and I was able to work through something and I'm able to finish it and do it, you know?
Yeah, like, I think that that's also, like, part of, like, the connection with the students. So, like, I remember at my high school, we had, like, a paper for, like, students with, like, behavioral problems, and, like, sometimes they would have to, like, fill, like, they would have to get, like, the paper signed by the teacher for, like, different, like, assignments they had to do and so forth. I'm not sure, like, if they had to, like, modify the assignment to what worked best for them, but, like, every student has their own, like, different, like, learning styles. And, like, just being, like, it's called differentiated instruction.
Yes. Yes, differentiated instruction. So, I don't know, I think there's a student in the 5th grade class I'm working with right now. He has dyslexia, and he is an incredibly bright kid. He cannot read, and he's very far below grade level reading on his own. Like, right now in 5th grade, he's still working on, like, picture books. When he has somebody sit and read to him, he can comprehend these really, like, detailed texts, and he understands it, but he's just not able to read it on his own or write about it on his own because he's still struggling with writing. And so I just think that's so interesting, because our abilities in one little category does not determine our intelligence or, like, ability to do something. We just might need to do it in a different way. Dyslexia is something that I was so wrong about. Like, I just thought it was seeing numbers and letters flipped. I really didn't know that it was, like,
Was that, like, dyscalculia or something like that?
Oh yeah, dyscalculia is with numbers, I think. And so that was just really interesting for me to learn about that and how I can work with students in the future.
I mean, like, we also had, like, a module, early literacy, and basically, like, learning how to support students with dyslexia. And so, like, maybe, like, it could, like, try to, like, apply some of those, like, concepts with their student as well.
Right.
Because, I mean, like, students with dyslexia are very intelligent.
Oh yeah.
Like, they're very intelligent, but, like, just trying to, like, find a way that, like, works and what helps them to, like, become more sufficient readers on their own.
It's very eye-opening and interesting to learn more about dyslexia and how it works.
I mean, like, I think there's like a few videos on like what like teachers did to help their students, so maybe that's something that can help you out with that.
Right, yeah, definitely.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning into today's episode of W in Hearing Note, Advocacy and Empowerment for Teachers. If you could please just take a moment and to leave me a review down in my socials, as it'll help me to figure out what kind of content you guys want me to create for you guys. Thank you and have a wonderful day, and remember, we can all be the voice.